Are you missing out on some crucial cannabis consumers? You know all about the typical cannabis consumer. They're familiar with cannabis. They've probably been using it for a long time. They're the classic legacy cannabis consumer. They're a lot like you. So they're familiar, they're easy to market to. The problem is most cannabis companies are marketing to those same people. It makes it very hard to stand out and get attention. And worse, you're missing out on potential sales and creating a more profitable business because you're all focused on the same target demographic. Who else is there to market to though? Keep watching. I'm going to share with you 3 chunks of data that you should be paying attention to so you don't miss out. I'm Velvet from Phenologic. So think about cannabis consumers like a pie. The problem is that most companies are going after the same slice of pie. It's the classic legacy heavy user cannabis consumer. And there's new cannabis companies coming online every week and they're all marketing to that same slice of pie. It gets very crowded in that slice of pie. But there's a whole rest of the pie that people aren't paying attention to. And what else you need to pay attention to is who is going to be the cannabis consumer in the next 3 to 5 years. Those are the people that you need to start thinking about now because it takes time to build relationships with them. It takes time to figure out who they are, how to talk with them, and where to talk with them. So you need to start thinking about them now to plant those seeds and build those relationships so that when they think about who they want to buy from, they think about you. And if you start thinking about those people and stop thinking about that one slice of pie that everybody's fixated on, you can do something different. You can get ahead of the game. You can have a different slice all to yourself. You'll have less competition and you'll have more opportunity to make an impact and make a more profitable business. The thing about these other slices of pie is they might not be like you. So you have to do some work to learn about these untapped markets for potential growth. Okay, so let's get into them. We've got 3 chunks of data to go through here. Number 1, this group. 66% of cannabis consumers are over 35 years old. 43% of cannabis consumers are over 45 years old. Let me say that again. 43% of cannabis consumers are over 45 years old. That's almost half of cannabis consumers. And of the cannabis consumers who are over 55 years old, now this might surprise you, but half of them say that they use cannabis every day or every couple days. Those are the people who are over 55 years old. And half of cannabis consumers are women. Okay, so that's a big chunk of information. But really what I'm saying here is not many cannabis companies are talking to any of those groups of people. Are you? Those are some big groups of people. That is at least a few more slices of pie that I just talked about there. So take a hard look at your marketing. You're probably biased in your own marketing efforts and you're marketing to yourself, but so is everybody else. You're attached to your own marketing messages. I get that, but you really need to look outside of your company and your own sphere to get an unbiased opinion on if your marketing is even interesting to all the rest of the people in that pie. Chunk of data number 2. Now, this one might be a little controversial. Okay, are you ready? 40% of people 40% of cannabis consumers either don't know what a terpene is or they don't care about terpenes. 40%. So when you focus on terpenes in your marketing, 40% of your potential consumers are tuning you out. They don't care. Why are you telling them over and over about something that they don't care about? Now, yes, there are some people who think that terpenes are important. 22% of cannabis consumers think that terpenes are important. 1 out of every 5 cannabis consumers think that terpenes are important. So when you're focusing on terpenes in your marketing, 1 out of 5 people who see your message care about that message. I know you love terpenes. That's great. I love that for you. I love that you love terpenes. But remember, 40% of people don't care. Only 1 out of every 5 people cares about terpenes like you care about terpenes. So, a tip and a challenge. Since only 1 out of 5 people care about terpenes, only mention terpenes in 1 out of 5 of your marketing messages. I challenge you to do that. See what happens. See what else you can talk with people about. Okay, chunk number 3. I really like this one. Only 31% of cannabis consumers have a favorite cannabis brand. That's less than a third. Less than a third of cannabis consumers have a favorite cannabis brand. That means that there's so much opportunity there. 2 out of every 3 cannabis consumers are waiting for you to connect with them. They're waiting for you to become their favorite brand. That's a huge opportunity. They're waiting for you. Find them and make them yours. Make them your slice of the pie. Okay, so now what? Now you have all of this data, and yeah, you can go back and re-watch this and get that data, write that data down. It's important data to pay attention to. It's very significant. It's going to take some time to figure out who these people are and build a relationship with them. But the companies who start now are going to have an advantage. If you don't start to develop a strategy now for connecting with these people, you're going to be playing catch up, because I can guarantee you that there are other cannabis companies who are paying attention to these people, and they are working on their strategy for how to connect and build those relationships with those people, because they make a big part of the pie that's being ignored. That's a huge opportunity. The smart cannabis company leaders are aware of that, and they're starting to build what they need to build for the rest of the cannabis consumer pie. Make sure that you are one of these companies that starts to work on this now. The great thing about this is there's plenty of current cannabis consumers who will appreciate the same things that these ignored cannabis consumers appreciate. So it's a win-win. You can build deeper relationships with the consumers that you have right now, while you're also building relationships with people who you haven't connected with yet, and the people who are going to be cannabis consumers in the future. And I promise you this, if you don't take action on this, somebody else will, and you will get left behind, and you might not be able to catch up, because while you are doing nothing about it, your competition is doing something about it. So take a step back and take a look around at who else is out there. Look at who is not being served by current cannabis marketing. Who is out there who you might be able to connect with and help and make an impact and build that profitable, long-lasting relationship that every company wants to have with their consumers. Part of being able to connect with people is having a story. It's about knowing who you are as a company so that you can reach out to them and let them know who you are clearly and in a different way than what most other companies are doing. You need to do something different to reach these people. Crafting your company story is the most effective way to connect with them and turn your cannabis passion into a profitable business. Remember, you need to think differently. You need to think outside of this slice of pie that everybody is focused on and think about the rest of the pie. And what's your story that you can bring into that pie so that people can get to know you and see who you are, and then you will become their favorite brand. And that's what you want, right? You want to be the favorite brand of cannabis consumers so that you have a loyal consumer base who you can have a great impact on. That's how you will build your company into the legacy that you want it to be. If this is resonating with you, check the link in my bio. I have a webinar coming up that's going to help you build your cannabis company story so that you can have a deeper and more profitable relationship with cannabis consumers. In this webinar, you'll understand what it takes to get clear on who you are as a company so that you can better connect with these consumers and build the legacy business that I know you want to have. I'm Velvet from Phenologic. I'll see you there.